Hi, I'm Nicolas Cage, and I'm gonna rewatch some scenes throughout my filmography.
There are Hollywood stars, and then there's Nicolas Cage, a man who lived life like he was trying to outrun a storm that only he could see coming. A man who once owned castles, islands, and a dinosaur skull. And a man who later found himself doing 30 straight-to-video movies just to keep the lights on. This is not just a story about an actor. It's the story of how a golden boy of Hollywood royalty flew too high, trusted the wrong man, and nearly lost everything, and then clawed his way back with nothing but grit, madness, and talent no one could smother. Nicolas Kim Coppola entered the world in 1964, surrounded by brilliance and tragedy. His father was a literature professor. His mother, a gifted dancer whose mind betrayed her. Schizophrenia and deep depression pulled her in and out of psychiatric hospitals throughout his childhood. Electroshock therapy, long disappearances, a kind of emotional abandonment he learned to mask, but never escaped. And on the other side of the family tree, pure cinematic royalty. Francis Ford Coppola, Talia Shire, Sofia Coppola, Jason Schwartzman. A dynasty of artists, thinkers, directors. But young Nicholas didn't feel like royalty. He felt like an outsider looking through a window at a world he wasn't invited into. His mother's illness forced him to grow up too fast. He later said that children of schizophrenics become super frenetic, hyper-vigilant, high-strung, desperate to control chaos because they were raised inside it. At 15, he got his first role in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, except being a Coppola didn't help. It hurt. The older actors mocked him. They quoted Apocalypse Now at him. He was just a kid being bullied for his family name. So he did something nobody expected. He renounced the Coppola identity. He became Nicolas Cage, half comic book hero, half rebellious performance artist. Francis Ford Coppola was furious. Casting directors froze him out, but Cage didn't flinch. He dropped out of school, worked at a movie theater selling popcorn, and studied the people on screen like they were gods he intended to dethrone. And then he started winning. That punk rock Romeo in Valley Girl, that raw performance in Rumblefish, that insane commitment in Birdie, Racing with the Moon, The Boy in Blue. Hollywood finally saw what he was willing to sacrifice. And yet, behind the scenes, something darker was already brewing. Nicolas Cage didn't just act. He lived inside his characters. He pulled teeth without anesthesia for Birdie. He swallowed live cockroaches for Vampire's Kiss. He cut himself with a real knife on set. He walked himself in sensory tanks. He channeled Elvis so hard that David Lynch rewrote Wild at Heart around him. He pushed himself past the edge again and again, trying to fill a void no award could ever touch. And then came the 90s, Cage's golden decade. Moonstruck, The Rock, Con Air, Face Off. Every movie a cultural event. Every line a meme before memes existed. America loved him because they could tell he wasn't phoning it in. He wasn't polished, political, or plastic. He was real. He was unpredictable. He felt like one of us, not one of them. But while his star soared, his personal life cracked, and the pressure drove him into obsessions that would later cost him everything. At the height of his fame, Nicolas Cage wasn't just rich, he was mythically rich. And he bought like a man who thought the money would never stop. 2 castles in Europe, a haunted mansion in New Orleans, a $150,000 pet octopus for acting inspiration. Cobras so venomous he had to keep anti-venom nearby. A shark, a crocodile, a private island, and of course, the legendary $276,000 dinosaur skull, the one he outbid Leonardo DiCaprio for. But then the ground shifted. In 2008, the real estate crash hit Hollywood like a sledgehammer, and Cage discovered the truth. His business manager, Samuel Levin, had mismanaged everything. The IRS didn't knock, they kicked the door down. $13 million in tax liens, $14 million owed in back taxes, property seized, castles sold, comic books liquidated. A lifetime of superstardom wiped out overnight. Cage sued his manager for $20 million, but the damage was done. The empire was gone. Most actors would have declared bankruptcy, disappeared, and blamed everyone else. But Nicolas Cage did something almost no one in Hollywood has the guts to do. He went to work. Between 2010 and 2015, Nicolas Cage accepted nearly every role he was offered. People laughed, critics mocked him. Memes exploded, but what they didn't know was the truth. He was paying off his debts himself, one movie at a time. No bankruptcy, no running, no excuses. A man raised in chaos refused to let chaos win again. He paid for medical care for his mother. He paid every tax bill. He took every hit with his head held high. And slowly, painfully, he climbed back. In 2021, Pig was released, a small indie film almost no one noticed. But the people who watched it didn't just see a performance. They saw a soul, quiet, broken, beautiful. It was the role of a man who had lost everything, played by a man who knew exactly what that felt like. Critics hailed it as the best acting of his career. Awards poured in. Hollywood's door cracked open again. Not because Nicolas Cage changed, but because the world finally caught up to who he really was. By 2025, Cage had rebuilt a $40 million fortune. Debt-free, humbled, stronger. A man who tasted ruin and refused to stay there. Nicolas Cage is not a cautionary tale. He's a warning and a reminder. A reminder that wealth can vanish, trust can be betrayed, fame can evaporate, but character, work ethic, raw, stubborn will, those are the things no one can take. He fell from $150 million to zero. He fought through humiliation and debt. He rose again, not because Hollywood saved him, but because he refused to quit. Nicolas Cage lived harder than most men dream, and paid a higher price than most men could endure. But in the end, he won.